Hey there guys, good morning. Welcome to my Compound Life. I am Jonathan. This is a channel where we build assets, we build habits, and of course we build freedom. That will be financial freedom, time freedom for you, me, and anyone else that watches my videos. So good to see you all. Fantastic. How are you guys? So at the time of recording, we are on the 28th of January 2026. If you're new here, I make Bitcoin video almost on a daily basis where I'll talk about Bitcoin news, price action. So if you like Bitcoin, definitely hit subscribe, guys. So hit the like, hit subscribe. Let me know where you guys are watching from in the comment section. It's always good to hear from all of the viewers. And yeah, I'm just a new content creator, so any kind of likes and subscribe can definitely help. So yes, do the like right now. Hey, yes. Okay, yeah, you can see. Do the like there. Yeah, okay. So let's start with Bitcoin price action for the day. So in the past 24 hours, well, Bitcoin price right now is about 88,800, close to 89,000, right? So in the past 24 hours, it went up about 2%, small 2%, starting from around 87,300, hitting a high near 89,300. We are, however, still about 29% away from the previous all-time high of around 126,000. Bitcoin has definitely been moving higher today, but it feels like it's still stuck in a tight range, especially this range. The range of 87,000 to about 89,000. Okay. As the US dollar gets weaker because of some comments from President Trump saying he's not worried about the dollars dropping, I'll cover more of that in the news section. This kind of things can make, I think this kind of announcement, especially from the US leader, can definitely make Bitcoin look more attractive as a safe place to put money when traditional currency kind of feels shaky, right? But at the same time, I need to caveat, people would rather put money into gold and silver for the time being. So maybe not immediately into Bitcoin just yet. So on the technical side, technical analysis, Bitcoin is showing signs of compression, right? Like it's getting squeezed, especially on this price range. And this means the highs are getting a bit lower, showing sellers are pushing back, but the lows are getting higher, meaning buyers are stepping in sooner to support the price. So we'll definitely need to get past this 89,500. It does seem for now. It used to be a support, but now of course it's become a resistance now, so we need to get past this in order for us to, the fact that we are in this zone and then Bitcoin price is at the higher zone area, so potentially hoping that we can have a breakout very soon, but whether it's breaking up higher or breaking out lower, I don't know. Right? Only time can tell, but I think the time is almost upon us, right? Bitcoin's gotta make that decision. The investors definitely gotta make that decision soon, right? So I think a few things coming up will be FOMC meeting today, which I'll be covering in the news section. So before we move on to the news section, let's quickly take a look at the Fear and Greed Index. Fear and Greed right now for Bitcoin is around 30. We're still in the fear zone. I think for the past week, we have been back to the fear zone. We touched a little bit briefly on neutral zone breakout last week, but definitely back into the fear zone. So not too much on the extreme fear zone, but I do anticipate with the coming news, the news that are about to come or about to play out, essentially will be continuously be in the fear zone for a much longer period of time. Okay. Yes, so let's take a quick look in terms of Bitcoin ETF. Let me refresh this. Bitcoin ETF right now, on the 27th of Jan, it's outflow, continue to be outflow. $147 million worth of outflow, mainly coming from BlackRock as well as Fidelity. Okay, on a weekly basis, it's definitely not looking good. I think so far for this week, it's an outflow total of $140 million, right? Just compared to last week, it was a total of $1.3 billion. In terms of monthly for Bitcoin so far for January, the month of January, it's $258 million worth of outflow. Okay, for January, for December last year, it's $1 billion worth of outflow, and November was the biggest, $3.4 billion worth of outflow. Okay, we'll see whether January it's an improvement, whether can we improve a little bit and get back to slightly more bullish or remain bearish, but with less outflow. So we shall see. And looking at the ETF, Ethereum ETF, yesterday again, it was an outflow of $63 million outflow, mainly coming from BlackRock as well as Grayscale. And what does it look like for ETH? So in terms of weekly for ETH, well, at least Ethereum is slightly bullish. A total week so far of $53 million worth of inflow. Compared to last week, it was all outflow of $611 million worth of outflow last week. Okay, so quick look into Solana. Let me refresh this. Solana, it's positive inflow, right? Apart from Grayscale selling, Fidelity bought $3 million worth of Ethereum, and so far I think Ethereum's Solana continue to do well. However, it's such a small buy, it's essentially insignificant, to be honest. So for the week, so far this week, Ethereum is 4.33 million. Okay, 4.33 million compared to last week, about 9.57 million. Okay, so at least the ETF's not buying yet. They're not coming back anytime soon. It does seem. So we will see. We will see whether more positive news, at least not for this week, maybe for another few more weeks. We'll see whether in a few weeks' time, whether the ETFs will be coming back. Okay, so now let's move on to the news section that moves Bitcoin price. Okay, so some of the key news that I would like to cover will be, okay, from the economic calendar. Let's move myself here, make myself bigger. There we go. Drop a like, guys. remember to drop a like. Please help me out. I'm a small content creator, so always help out small content creator, guys. Okay, so from the economic calendar, yesterday, January the 27th, that's this one here, right? So we've got some data that came out. The Case-Shiller Home Price Index for November was up 1.4% year over year, slightly better than the forecast of 1.31%. So this measures how house prices are changing in the big US cities. So actual data was a bit higher, which is good for the economy, but might mean inflation isn't cooling down as fast. Okay, so then also we've got the consumer confidence data for January came in at 84.5, so which is way below the forecast of 90 and down from 94.2 last time. So this survey show how people feel about jobs and spending in general. So lower means they're worried, which can slow the economy, right? So implication for us, Bitcoin holders, I think short term, it's pretty bearish, this data that came out. You know, if it signals recession fears. But for the longer term perspective, it can, well, maybe not longer term, but mid-term perspective, it can be quite bullish if it pushes the Fed to cut rates. And of course, with more rate cut in the horizon, it can potentially, people would, try to get back into Bitcoin as a hedge, right? So potentially it could be good. But one thing for sure to look out for today, that's today, 28th of Jan, we have a big FOMC interest rate decision at about 2 p.m. Okay. And of course, I think Trump definitely want this to go down, the interest rate. But we'll see whether this will be done. So I think, yeah, you guys need to watch this. Trump desperately want this. Trump definitely want his interest rate cut.
As possible. Despite that, we've driven rates down. When you're really good, you can get them down despite everything, because ultimately, it just sort of follows nature. Mortgage interest rates are now at the lowest level in 3 years, and new mortgage applications are up 30%. By the way, we have a great Fed chairman. I think we're going to have one. I'll announce it pretty soon. You'll see rates come down a lot. And refinancings are up 100% compared to the end of the Biden term. Up 100% as possible.
So definitely President Trump wants Jerome Powell to step down. And he already have someone in his mind, right? So Trump definitely can't wait to replace Jerome Powell with Rick Ryder. So he's definitely a rising favorite for Trump's Fed chair pick. So FYI, who the hell is Rick Ryder? He is a top executive at BlackRock, a huge investment firm. So he's being talked about as a possible next Fed chair under Trump. So he views Bitcoin like new gold, better than gold, digital gold, a store of value that's digital and scarce. So this came out yesterday, January the 27th, this news. I think definitely with his term running out in May for Jerome Powell, I think Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell is on the verge of being replaced, and online wages suggest BlackRock's Rick Ryder could be the President Trump's choice. So Ryder could be a boom for Bitcoin because the high-profile finance figure has often touted its merits. The executive said as far back as 2020 that Bitcoin could replace gold, right? So good to have someone who's more Bitcoin and crypto friendly in the Feds, right? So we'll see. We'll see whether we'll get a rate cut, but highly unlikely. So far, I think for Rick Rider, it's about 47.3%, 47%. I think could be pretty accurate from Polymarket. And of course, I think Jerome Powell definitely need to cut rate, right? Look, another U.S. Treasury just bought back another $735 million of their own debt, right? So essentially, they need to cut the rate. Otherwise, they couldn't keep up with paying off their debt. It's going to slow the growth for the whole of the economy. So yeah, hoping Fed Jerome Powell would do the right thing. But anyway, I think it's all priced in for now. At least for January, there wouldn't be a rate cut. 100%, well, close to 100% chance that it will stay unchanged. However, the chances of rate cut for March will be it's about 15% for 25 basis point. At least for April, increase to about 24% for a 25 basis point decrease. We'll see all how that goes. Okay, another news that's affecting the Bitcoin price is this one. Right. So I think on the press, on the media, it's hinting that because Bitcoin climbs above 89,000 as US dollars tumbles on President Trump's remark. So President Trump said he's not worried about the US dollar getting weaker lately. The dollar is the main currency for the world trade, right? It's everything is pegged against the dollars. You trade oil, petrol with dollars. And when it drops, it can make things like imports more expensive for Americans. But for Bitcoin, which is seen as a store of value like gold, a weaker dollar often makes it more appealing because people look for alternatives to hold wealth as opposed to dollars, right? So this happened yesterday, January the 27th, around trading hours. I think this whole story, it does matter because the dollar strength affect global money flows. If it weakens, more capital might flow back into Bitcoin as a hedge. And for us, the holders, it's a reason to hold tight as value could rise for Bitcoin. If you're about to enter, this could be a good dip to buy before more upside. I think there could be more upside. Fundamental, I think for short term, it's positive. From momentum, longer term, strong as Bitcoin scarcity continue and with fiat currency getting weaker, it's always good for Bitcoin. Another news. So rather than just purely thinking because Trump came out and made some suggestion or spoke about currency weaken, so that's why Bitcoin pump, I think the true reason why Bitcoin pump a little bit, it's all due to dollars getting weakened. Okay, so I'm not saying that because Trump came out and said about dollar weaken, it dropped, right? But however, I'm more referring to the mechanics behind. Okay, so the US dollar is dumping hard since the Fed, I I created the video that spoke quite in depth about it on Sunday. So refer back to the Sunday Bitcoin Daily video. So the Fed did a rate checks and yen intervention rumors started. Okay, so the IMF has also confirmed that it is now stress testing scenarios where there is a rapid sell-off of US dollars assets. So the IMF Kristalina Georgieva, something like that, said the IMF is modeling even unthinkable events, including a fast exit from the dollars because global financial crisis and policy uncertainty are rising. And this is why I still think gold and silver can still have more upwards trajectory until all of this uncertainty been made certain, right? So this means the IMF is officially treating stress in the dollar as a real global risk. They are preparing for what happens if trust in the dollar drops suddenly. With this, the dollar will get weaker and asset owner, me and you guys, will be the biggest winner. Okay, so now would be the time to be in asset as opposed to be in dollars. Okay, so before 1985, it also began with rate checks, policy signals, and rumors of coordination. The dollar started weakening before any official intervention was announced. And now, essentially, the same pattern is showing again, right? Now the same pattern is playing out. So I reckon, so there could be a time where gold will continue to go up. I don't know, maybe gold and silver, metals in general. But eventually, the big rotation will come back into Bitcoin. We'll see. That's my speculation, point of view. I might be wrong. I'm just an internet guy. And of course, other news. Arthur Hayes says Bitcoin will pump if Fed intervenes in yen and JGB market. That's Japan government bonds market. So I'll actually drop a link. You guys should read this. Okay. So the gist of this, Arthur Hayes is a big name in crypto. I've covered Arthur Hayes a few times in my Bitcoin Daily video, so go check them out. Arthur Hayes is a big name for crypto. He's a founder of BitMEX. He wrote an essay saying if the US Fed steps in to help Japan, yen currency, or their government bonds by expanding its balance sheet, that means printing more money basically. So it could boost Bitcoin. Yen is Japan's money. It's been weak, pretty weak lately. So this was, it was all due to the interest rate rise, leading on to the Japan carry trade implosions, etc. Right? So all of this matter to Bitcoin because Fed moves can immediately flood the whole market with cash, lifting prices, right? So lifting prices for a lot of assets. So for Bitcoin holders, exciting, as it could definitely spark a rally, a final rally for Bitcoin. A rally that we've all been waiting for a long time, right? It's so depressing looking at gold every single day that forms another all-time high and then Bitcoin continues to dip. But we just also need to pay attention to this because it's all affecting the global economy, the macro side. It's not looking good, right? So that's why investors will not want to be risk on. So for short term, the news of the intervention, I think it's good for Bitcoin. So that's why Bitcoin pump a little bit. But after this pump, I think there could probably be more dumps coming because people, buy the rumors, sell the news. By the time the news happen, people may start to sell. And at the same time, generally people will still not be confident about the decision, the economy. So that's why a lot of mindshare still, be moving on to gold, silver, metals. But I think longer term for Bitcoin, it would definitely be more bullish. If that is a big if, Fed expands, essentially means they need to continue to print more. And of course, it would be pretty bearish if the decision is, decide not to print. But we will see. We'll see how it all happens. Okay, let's move on to other news section. Other interesting news section. Oh, in terms of government shutdown, I think it's still at high 70%, right? So we will see. I think the announcement will be coming in about 2 days. We'll see how all that goes. Okay, so moving on to other interesting news section. One of it is Steak and Shake, guys. I think most of my viewers are from the US. I never tried Steak and Shake. Steak and Shake, right? So if it's good, just leave me a comment. Let me know what does it taste like. We don't have them in the UK. So is it more like a look? The closest that I can get in the UK would probably be Five Guys, and I think Five Guys from the US anyway, right? So let me know in the comment section. Does it taste more like Five Guys or like a Burger King, right? Definitely, I know that it doesn't taste like a McDonald's. So let me know in the comment section. So Steak and Shake adds $5 million in Bitcoin to reserve as in-store sales grows 18%. Okay, this is smart, right? This is very smart. So obviously the restaurant said that its adoption of Bitcoin is one of the main reasons that it is trouncing its fast food competitors. Okay, that's interesting, right? So background, Steak and Shake is a US restaurant chain known for burgers and shake, right? Maybe the shakes is good, right? Must be the shake is good, right? Let me know in the comment section, because I drink a lot of McDonald's shake, the strawberry milkshake. This could be a competitors if that's the case. But anyway, so Steak and Shake, they just added $5 million worth of Bitcoin to their company treasuries, like reserve asset. So they would rather not hold cash and buy more Bitcoin as reserve, right? Because they truly see the value of Bitcoin. And at the same time, their sales in store went up 18%, meaning more customers. I don't think it's because Bitcoin that resulted in the customers. However, it could be, right? Ever since that they announced holding Bitcoin as treasury, maybe more Bitcoiners or Bitcoin enthusiasts or Bitcoin holders just suddenly decided that they wouldn't go Five Guys, that they would just go Steak and Shake instead. Let me know if you're one of them, right? Let me know in the comment section. So meaning more customers, this is part of a trend where companies buy Bitcoin to hold as an investment started by firms like MicroStrategy. I think it's good because Steak and Shake would rather hold Bitcoin than cash. Okay, so would you rather hold currency than cash, right? You guys gotta let me know. Let me know, guys. Yeah, I kind of looked through Steak and Shake menu earlier. I mean, it looks good. I mean, looking at that, I would still rather have a Burger King than this. So that's why I mean, is it? Oh wow, you can order a Bitcoin burger. Check that out. Have you guys ordered one of that? This one. I mean, that's the thing, right? You can't even zoom in into the picture. You know, it's like half the Bitcoin's cut out. Let me know in the comment section if you guys tried the Bitcoin burger. You know, hit the like, guys. If you tried the Bitcoin burger, I think that's pretty iconic. I would definitely buy one if I'm visiting the US anytime soon. Other interesting news. Okay, so this one is pretty interesting. Public companies increase Bitcoin holding despite range-bound prices, right? So not just Steak and Shake, but many other public companies are holding more Bitcoin. Even though Bitcoin price has been struck in the range 88,000, right? Not moving up or down much. So this company kept buying more Bitcoin in 2026. They're holding despite it being 12% lower than a year ago. Wow. I think 27% lower than a year ago. I think it's definitely good to see more companies buying. You know, it's perhaps, you know what, this could be the reason that Bitcoin never go up another all-time high. Perhaps this could be a reason that Bitcoin will not drop beyond $70,000 because there are so many more people buying, right? And even for this company, American Bitcoin, Nasdaq listed American Bitcoin Corporation said on Tuesday that its Bitcoin holding rose to 5,843 Bitcoin. Not a lot. So that's an increase of 416 Bitcoin from the prior level. The company said it has climbed to number 18, right, among public Bitcoin treasury holders since its Nasdaq debuted in September 2025, citing a Bitcoin yield of 116% through Jan 25th. According to an ex post, the performance metric tracks the percentage increase in Bitcoin exposure per share. Okay, so yeah, I think good strategic. You know, like I've always said, you need to have a hodl bag for Bitcoin as well as a swing bag. Swing bag, you buy low, sell high. You just treat your hodl bag as a bank rather than storing your money in banks that gives you tiny percentage of interest rate. Just store it in Bitcoin. The CAGR so far is well over 60 or 70% per annum. Of course, it will reduce over a period of time, but it certainly beats having to only been given out tiny amount of interest rate for holding in banks. And at the same time, I think definitely you can see who are the top holdings. Strategy, followed by Mara. So Strategy is the one that's kicking everyone's ass. Look at that. 712,647 Bitcoin. I mean, all others like Mara Holdings or 21 Capital, they're nowhere near Strategy. So Strategy is Michael Saylor is definitely kicking asses here. I think that's it, guys. Not much to cover. I think a lot of news coming out today, especially FOMC. And then I think, yeah, that will be a key one to watch out for. So I'll see you in the next video. Please drop a like, hit subscribe, and leave me a comment below. Let me know where you guys are watching from. Always good to hear from every single one of you. Okay, so see you in the next video, guys. Bye.